The global refugee crisis continues to grow, with millions of people displaced by conflict, persecution, and instability. As of 2024, many countries are shouldering the burden of hosting large refugee populations. These nations, often neighboring conflict zones or having humanitarian policies in place, provide shelter and support for displaced individuals. In this video, we explore the 10 countries hosting the most refugees. 10. Ethiopia. Ethiopia, a country in the Horn of Africa, plays a crucial role in accommodating refugees from its conflict-ridden neighbors. The country hosts over 800,000 refugees, mainly from South Sudan, Somalia, and Eritrea. Ethiopia's geographical location makes it a natural destination for those fleeing violence and persecution in these areas. Despite facing its own economic challenges, Ethiopia has maintained an open-door policy for refugees. The government, alongside international organizations, has been working to integrate refugees into local communities. The challenges Ethiopia faces in hosting such a large number of refugees are significant, but the country remains a beacon of hope for many displaced people in the region. 9. Iran. Iran has been a refuge for displaced people for decades, particularly those from Afghanistan and Iraq. The country currently hosts over 800,000 refugees, primarily Afghans fleeing decades of conflict and instability. With its proximity to Afghanistan and Iraq, Iran has long been a key destination for those escaping war. The Iranian government, despite facing sanctions and economic challenges, has provided housing, healthcare, and education to refugees. However, the situation remains difficult, with limited resources stretched thin across the refugee population. Many refugees in Iran face restrictions in terms of work opportunities and mobility, but the country's long-standing hospitality to its neighbors in crisis continues. 8. Bangladesh. Bangladesh hosts one of the largest concentrations of refugees in the world, most of whom are Rohingya fleeing violence and persecution in Myanmar. The Rohingya crisis, which escalated in 2017, led to the mass exodus of this ethnic minority group, and they now reside in refugee camps in the Cox's Bazar region of Bangladesh. With over 900,000 refugees, Bangladesh has faced significant challenges in providing basic needs such as food, shelter, and medical care. International aid has played a vital role in supporting these refugees, but conditions in the camps remain dire. Despite its limited resources, Bangladesh has shown remarkable compassion in welcoming the Rohingya people. 7. Lebanon. Lebanon, a small country in the Middle East, is home to over 1 million refugees, primarily from Syria. The influx of Syrian refugees following the outbreak of the Syrian civil war has placed an enormous strain on Lebanon's infrastructure, economy, and social fabric. Despite its challenges, Lebanon has maintained a policy of accepting refugees, making it one of the countries with the highest per capita concentration of refugees in the world. The large refugee population has put pressure on Lebanon's housing, education, and healthcare systems, but the country continues to be a refuge for those fleeing violence and persecution. 6. Sudan. Sudan, located in northeastern Africa, hosts over 1.1 million refugees from various countries, including South Sudan, Eritrea, and Syria. The ongoing conflicts in South Sudan have particularly contributed to the large number of displaced people seeking refuge in Sudan. Sudan has been a generous host despite its own internal conflicts and economic difficulties. Refugees in Sudan often reside in camps, where access to basic services such as food, healthcare, and education is limited. Humanitarian organizations are active in the region, but the country still faces significant challenges in providing adequate care for its large refugee population. 5. Uganda. Uganda is often praised for its progressive refugee policies, which have allowed over 1.5 million people to seek safety within its borders. The majority of refugees in Uganda come from South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, both of which have experienced prolonged conflict. Uganda's policies allow refugees to work, start businesses, and access education, which has helped integrate many into local communities. The country's willingness to host such a large number of refugees, while providing opportunities for self-reliance, is considered a model for refugee integration worldwide. However, the sheer scale of the refugee population continues to strain Uganda's resources. For Pakistan. For decades, Pakistan has been home to over 1.4 million Afghan refugees, making it one of the largest hosts of displaced people from Afghanistan. The Soviet-Afghan War, the rise of the Taliban, and the US-led invasion of Afghanistan have all contributed to the refugee crisis that has seen millions cross into Pakistan over the years. Pakistan has provided asylum to Afghan refugees, offering them access to healthcare, education, and housing. However, the ongoing nature of the conflict in Afghanistan has meant that many refugees have spent decades in Pakistan, often in limbo regarding their legal status and future. Germany became a leading destination for refugees during the European migration crisis of 2015. The country now hosts over 1.2 million refugees, primarily from Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Germany's chancellor at the time, Angela Merkel, made a landmark decision to welcome hundreds of thousands of refugees, sparking both support and controversy. Germany has integrated many of its refugees into the workforce and society, offering programs for education, language learning, and employment. While the influx of refugees has posed challenges, particularly regarding housing and social integration, Germany remains one of the most generous host countries in Europe. To Colombia. Colombia has become the main destination for Venezuelans fleeing their country's economic and political crisis. With over 2.5 million refugees, Colombia is now one of the largest hosts of displaced people in the world. The Venezuelan crisis, which has led to severe food shortages, lack of healthcare, and rampant inflation, has forced millions to flee across the border to Colombia. Colombia has been praised for its humanitarian response, providing Venezuelan refugees with temporary visas, healthcare, and education. However, the sheer scale of the crisis has created significant challenges for Colombia's economy and infrastructure. 1. Turkey. Turkey is the world's largest host of refugees, with over 3.6 million displaced people, most of whom are from Syria. The Syrian civil war, which began in 2011, has resulted in millions of people fleeing to neighboring countries, with Turkey bearing the brunt of the crisis. Turkey's refugee policies have allowed many Syrians to integrate into Turkish society, with access to healthcare, education, and employment. However, the strain on Turkey's resources is significant, and there are growing tensions between local populations and the refugee community. Despite these challenges, Turkey remains a crucial safe haven for those fleeing the horrors of war in Syria. Thank you for watching. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps us bring you more valuable content. Safe travels.